The aroma of seared metal, a strangely comforting scent, enveloped 5-year-old Elias as he navigated the vast junkyard on the outskirts of Nexus City. His small frame, cloaked in a worn gray-brown sweater, moved purposefully through towering heaps of discarded alien technology. In the distance, the megacity's gleaming spires pierced the sky, a stark contrast to the rust and decay that surrounded him. Elias wiped dirt from his face with the back of his hand, his bright blue eyes, holding a wisdom beyond his years, meticulously scanning the landscape for anything of value. They narrowed as he spotted a promising pile of scrap, his slender fingers, calloused far beyond what a child's hand should be, deftly sifted through the debris. 3 more power cells, he mumbled, tucking the small cylinders into his makeshift satchel. Maybe enough for dinner tonight. That afternoon, an unusually dense fog rolled in, even for the perpetually gray outskirts. Elias pulled his sweater tighter as the temperature plummeted. Most scavengers had already retreated to their shelters, but Elias couldn't afford to stop. Without parents, he had no safety net. Only the junkyard keeping him alive. Just as he was about to head back, he heard it. A faint groan carried on the wind. Elias froze, his survival instincts instantly alert. The outskirts were dangerous, especially for a human child. While the diverse alien inhabitants of Nexus City generally tolerated humans, tolerance was not kindness. The sound came again, weaker this time. Against his better judgment, Elias followed it to a fresh impact site. Something had recently crashed. The metal was still warm, steam rising as the fog condensed on its surface. And there, half buried in debris, lay a humanoid figure. Its skin was deep blue, its facial features elongated, and its golden robes, adorned with intricate patterns, were torn. Clearly this was someone of importance. The alien was elderly, breathing shallowly and with effort. "Hey," Elias whispered, approaching cautiously. "You alive?" No response, only the faint rise and fall of the alien's chest. Elias nervously glanced around. If this individual was important, others would surely be searching for them. People with money, who might either reward a helpful human boy or punish him for interfering. "Damn it," he muttered, a curse he'd picked up from older scavengers. With his decision made, he began clearing debris from around the alien's body. It took nearly an hour to free the unconscious figure and maneuver him onto Elias's cart. A contraption of welded scrap metal with mismatched wheels that groaned under the new weight. The alien was tall, at least 7 feet, making Elias's task far more difficult. "You better be worth this," Elias grunted as he began the arduous journey back to his shelter. A repurposed shipping container, reinforced with scavenged materials. The fog thickened as night fell, and the temperature dropped further. Elias's breath formed visible puffs as he strained against the cart's handle. His muscles ached, but he pressed on, one foot in front of the other. Inside his container, Elias had crafted a semblance of home. Scraps of fabric served as bedding. Carefully collected rainwater filled several containers, and a small illegal power converter provided minimal heat and light. With immense effort, he managed to get the alien onto his makeshift bed. Up close, Elias could discern the fine quality of the torn robes. Real gold thread intricately woven with an unknown material. The patterns were not mere decoration. They symbolized status and lineage. "Who are you?" Elias murmured, studying the alien's face. Despite the blue skin and elongated features, there was an unmistakable dignity about him, even in unconsciousness. Elias checked for visible injuries, finding several cuts and what appeared to be a head wound. He cleaned them as best he could with his limited supplies, then covered the alien with his only blanket. "Don't die," he stated firmly. "I didn't drag you all this way for nothing." As if in response, the alien's breathing deepened slightly. Elias settled into the corner of the container, wrapping his arms around his knees for warmth. He had given up his bed and blanket, but something told him this was important. Perhaps it was the promise of a reward, or perhaps it was a value his parents had instilled in him before they vanished. Help those in need, even if they are different from you. His stomach growled, reminding him he hadn't eaten since morning. The power cells in his satchel would fetch enough for food, but he couldn't leave his guest alone. Tomorrow, he promised himself, his eyes growing heavy despite the cold and hunger. "We'll figure this out tomorrow." As he drifted off to sleep, Elias was unaware that this simple act of kindness would irrevocably alter the course of his life. He couldn't have known that the elderly alien on his bed was Thoren Vorc, one of the wealthiest businessmen in 3 star systems and a pivotal diplomat in interstellar relations. Nor could he have known that Vorc's ship had been sabotaged, or that powerful entities were actively searching for him. All Elias knew was that someone needed help, and he had provided it without question. Elias awoke with a jolt, his small body stiff from sleeping, propped against the cold metal wall. The faint light of dawn filtered through the cracks in his container home, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air. For a moment he had forgotten about his guest, until a deep, resonant voice broke the silence. "Where am I? Who are you?" The alien was awake, sitting upright on the makeshift bed, his posture rigid despite obvious pain. His eyes, a startling amber with vertical pupils, fixed on Elias with an intensity that made the boy instinctively recoil. "I'm Elias," he answered, his voice small but steady. "Found you in the junkyard. You crashed." The alien's hand moved to a concealed pocket in his robe. His eyes widened in alarm. "My communicator. If you had anything valuable, it's probably gone," Elias said matter-of-factly. "Scavenger strip crash sites fast. I only found you because of the fog." The alien's face contorted in what might have been frustration or pain. "Do you have any idea who I am, child?" Elias shrugged, rising to his feet. "Someone important, judging by your clothes. But out here, that doesn't matter much." He approached a small container of water. "Thirsty?" The alien seemed taken aback by the boy's directness. After a moment's hesitation, he nodded. "Yes, thank you." Elias handed him a dented metal cup. "It's clean. I filter it myself." The alien examined the cup suspiciously before taking a cautious sip. His expression softened slightly. "You have technology to purify water?" "Not technology, charcoal and sand." Elias pointed to his crude filtration system in the corner. "Learned it from my dad before he disappeared." Something in the alien's demeanor shifted, a subtle transition from weariness to curiosity. "You live here alone, a human child among aliens?" "Yep." Elias busied himself checking the alien's wounds. "Most aliens ignore me. Some try to help, some don't." His small fingers worked with surprising gentleness. "Your head looks better. The cuts are already closing." "My species heals quickly," the alien replied, watching the boy with growing interest. "I am Thoren Vorc." Elias nodded, seemingly unimpressed by the name. "Can you eat human food? I've got some protein bars." "I should be able to digest it, yes." Thoren seemed increasingly perplexed by the child's practical approach. "You're not afraid of me?" Elias paused, considering the question. "Should I be? Most humans are cautious around my kind." "Most humans haven't lived their whole lives in an alien junkyard," Elias countered, retrieving a protein bar from his stash. He broke it in half, offering the larger portion to Thoren. "Besides, you're hurt. Not much of a threat right now." Thoren accepted the food with a surprised chuckle that turned into a wince. "Your assessment is accurate." He studied the protein bar before taking a bite. It's surprisingly palatable. It's the best I could trade for yesterday." Elias sat cross-legged on the floor, devouring his portion in 3 quick bites. "So, what happened to you? Your ship looked pretty messed up." Thoren's expression darkened. "I believe I was targeted. Enemies. In my position, it's inevitable." Elias nodded sagely, as if he fully comprehended the complexities of interstellar politics and business rivalries. "That's why I keep to myself. No position, no enemies." This time, Thoren's laugh was genuine, despite his pain. "An admirably simple philosophy." He attempted to stand, but swayed dangerously. Elias was at his side in an instant, his small frame somehow providing enough support to steady the much larger alien. "Easy. You hit your head pretty hard. Your concern is unexpected." Thoren lowered himself back to the bed. "Why help me? What do you hope to gain?" The question wasn't accusatory, merely curious, but Elias stiffened nonetheless. "Maybe I wanted your fancy robe," he said defensively. "Or maybe I just didn't want you to die." Thoren studied the human child with newfound respect. "Remarkable. Your species continues to confound me." "How's that?" "Humans are considered primitive by many standards. Your technology lags centuries behind most spacefaring races. Your planet is divided by meaningless borders. Yet, he gestured to Elias and their surroundings. A child with nothing offers shelter and shares his meager food with a stranger of another species. Elias fidgeted with a loose thread on his sweater, uncomfortable with the praise. Anyone would have done it. No, Thoren said firmly. They would not. I have visited 17 systems and encountered 34 sentient species. Few demonstrate such compassion without calculation. The boy fidgeted. Well, I did kind of hope you might have credits or something to spare, he admitted. A genuine fondness softened Thoren's features. Honesty, after all, was a truly remarkable trait. A comfortable silence settled between the unlikely pair, the elderly alien diplomat and the human child scavenger, their paths converging through shared circumstances. I need to reach my people, Thoren finally declared, his voice cutting through the quiet. Critical matters require my immediate attention. Elias responded, The communication hub is centrally located, but they prohibit entry to children like me, especially human children. Thoren's amber eyes gleamed with resolve. Then we must discover an alternative route. Tell me, Elias, do you intimately know this junkyard? A slow smile stretched across the boy's dirt-streaked face. Better than anyone alive. Thoren continued, Perhaps you would assist me once more, and I assure you, your kindness will be justly rewarded. Stay low, Elias whispered, guiding Thoren through a complex maze of discarded machinery. The alien diplomat, despite his injuries, moved with surprising nimbleness, mirroring the boy's agile path. The morning mist had dissipated, replaced by a shimmering, hazy midday heat hovering over the metal-strewn landscape. Elias confidently navigated, occasionally pausing to ensure Thoren could manage the challenging terrain. No much further, the boy promised, indicating a distant structure half buried under scrap. The old relay station is there. The city abandoned it when the new communication hub was built. Thoren nodded, conserving his breath. His formal robes, though torn, were ill-suited for this arduous journey, and sweat beaded on his blue skin. Most people are unaware of its existence, Elias continued, a note of pride in his voice. I discovered it last year. Sometimes it still functions if you know how to give it the right kick. Thoren managed between breaths. Your knowledge is truly impressive. Elias grinned. Survival, that's all. Knowing your territory better than anyone else. They arrived at a small clearing where the junkyard's chaotic piles gave way to a more organized area. At its heart stood a dilapidated dome structure, its once white surface now marred by rust and grime. A faded insignia, the emblem of Nexus City's communication authority, was barely discernible above the entrance. Wait! Elias held up his hand, head cocked. Something's amiss. Thoren froze, his amber eyes scanning their surroundings. What do you sense? It's too quiet. The boy gestured toward a nearby pile of scrap. The junk rats always nest there. They're gone. No sooner had he spoken than a low hum pervaded the air, the unmistakable sound of anti-gravity engines. Down! Thoren grabbed Elias, pulling him behind a large piece of machinery, just as a sleek black vessel descended into the clearing. Elias whispered, peering around their cover. Who are they? Trouble, Thoren replied grimly. Mercenaries, likely Saurian. The ship's hatch slid open, revealing 4 figures. These were tall, reptilian aliens with scaled skin and elongated snouts, dressed in matching black armor, adorned with red insignias. Their energy weapons pulsed with an ominous blue light. Spread out! Ordered the largest among them, his voice a guttural rasp. The tracker indicates Vorc's biosignature nearby. Elias shot Thoren a questioning look. Tracker? Thoren quietly explained. My blood contains trace nanites, a security measure usually beneficial, but now problematic. Can they pinpoint us here? The signal is imprecise, Thoren's expression darkened. But given enough time, we need a diversion. Elias surveyed their surroundings, his young mind racing through possibilities. I have an idea, he whispered, but you must remain here. Absolutely not, Thoren hissed. These are dangerous individuals. And this is my junkyard, Elias countered with stubborn confidence. Trust me. Before Thoren could protest further, the boy slipped away, moving with practiced stealth through the debris. The diplomat watched in helpless frustration as Elias circled behind the mercenaries, hugging the shadows. The boy reached a towering pile of scrap metal precariously balanced against an old storage container. With calculated precision, he began dislodging key pieces from the base of the pile, creating structural instability. One of the mercenaries turned, sensing movement. Elias froze, his heart pounding. The mercenary approached, weapon raised. In just 3 more steps, he would be spotted. The boy yanked one final support piece free and darted away as the colossal pile began to shift. Metal groaned and shrieked as gravity took hold, sending an avalanche of debris cascading toward the mercenaries. "Ambush!" shouted their leader as the group scattered to avoid being crushed. In the ensuing chaos, Elias sprinted back to Thoren. Now, while they're distracted, they dashed toward the relay station. Thoren winced with each step. Elias reached the door first, his fingers swiftly bypassing the simple lock mechanism. "Hurry!" Thoren urged, glancing back at the mercenaries who were regrouping, scanning the area with increasing anger. The door slid open with a reluctant groan, and they slipped inside. Elias immediately secured it behind them, engaging manual locks that hadn't been used in years. Inside, the station was a single room filled with outdated communication equipment. Dust coated every surface, and the air smelled of disuse and electrical decay. "Will it work?" Thoren asked,